Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned.
Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz, and well. December 19th can't come soon enough, guys. You know, I did a video about this fight 5 days ago, almost a week, about Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. At the time, it was rumors. At the time, it was negotiations, like deep negotiations, like a contract is about to get signed. But I also didn't take it serious, because these are the kind of fights that Jake Paul will never entertain. A fighter in his prime, more or less, and has the chance to beat him. I mean, a real world-class professional boxer. Someone that's in their prime, is their time, a contender, or a former world champion. And when Gervonta Tank Davis, when his fight with Tank Davis fell off, Anthony Joshua was a name that was floating around out there. And I'm like, no way he takes this fight. Well, today, Jake Paul has proven me wrong. That he actually damn took the fight. He has signed the contract. It's signed, set, and sealed. December 19th in Miami. Jake Paul will definitely take on Anthony Joshua. And this is not an exhibition. This is a true professional fight. It's going on both records. It's going to be 8 rounds. Both guys are going to wear 10-ounce gloves. Those are the normal ounces that heavyweights wear. And according to the rules, Anthony Joshua cannot weigh no more than 257 pounds. 245. And I don't know if they're trying to make Joshua weaker or anything like that. I don't know. But even if Joshua comes in 230, 240, it's still heavy enough for Anthony Joshua to perform at a high level. You know, Joshua doesn't have to be 300 pounds or close to 300 pounds to have a chance to beat Jake Paul. Now, I give Jake Paul credit. You know, I always give Jake Paul credit when it comes to being a promoter. He's one of the best promoters in the sport of boxing today. And I always give his credit when it comes to making fighters rich. He has made Amanda Serrano a very rich woman who, in my eyes, and I know many of you guys as well, that Amanda Serrano deserves every amount of money that she's earning today, and it's all thanks to Jake Paul. So I always give him credit for that, and all the other fighters that he has under him, under Most Valuable Promotions. I always give him credit for that. Now, I'm going to also give Jake Paul credit for actually signing this contract, because this is a risky fight. This is worse than than the fight with Tank. Tank was a risky fight, even though the weight and the size was ridiculous. But Tank always is a big puncher. He's undefeated. He's in his prime. It was a dangerous fight. But this is worse, because now Jake Paul is going in there with a 6'6", almost 300-pound Olympic gold medalist, 2-time heavyweight champion, 2-time unified champion, 28-4, 25 big heavyweight knockouts. And Anthony Joshua, and what makes this fight so dangerous? Well, I just said it's 6'6", almost 300 pounds. One of the best, if not the best physique in heavyweight today or in any heavyweight history. Real knockout power. when he follows up with his combinations, is one of the best in the sport. And like I said, Olympic gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion, two-time unified champion. This is a guy that's not in his, I won't say he's not in his prime. Yes, he's not in his 20s, 25, 26, 27, 28. This is not Anthony Joshua in his late 20s or early 30s. He's 36 years old now, coming off a knockout loss. But don't let it fool you. Joshua may be coming off a knockout loss against Du Bois, but Anthony Joshua is still a top heavyweight. At 36 years old, Anthony Joshua in shape, which he's right now doing, getting ready for this fight, because it is a fight, and Anthony Joshua is taking it serious. It is enough, more than enough, for an Anthony Joshua, 36 years old, even though he's coming off a KO loss, to give Jake Paul hell in that ring. Now, I give Jake Paul credit for signing the contract, and I'm gonna give Jake Paul if he beats Anthony Joshua. But I want to see Anthony Joshua let his hands go. You know, a lot of people saying that Jake Paul fights be rigged. He pays a lot of these fights. He pays every bit of his opponents a ton of money so that they won't have to go all out or let go their artillery on Jake Paul. Really, really let him have it. Because let me tell you something. Jake Paul, he has dedicated his craft. He's a much better fighter than when he started. He has a nice jab, nice overhand right. Basic fundamentals, he got it down pat. But he hasn't convinced me to where I can see and feel he can go in there and beat Anthony Joshua. I just don't see it. He has not faced the caliber of opponent of a Joshua to convince me that he can go in there and beat Joshua. Mike Tyson, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, these are guys that were washed over the hill. Their names, big names in the sport of fighting, but they're not in their primes. Anthony Joshua is the first real challenge for Jake Paul, like the first legit threat, literally. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul lost that fight, but Tommy Fury is no world beater. You know, he's not an Anthony Joshua by far. Joshua is a much more accomplished opponent than Tommy Fury will ever be for Jake Paul. And even Jake Paul lost that fight. So imagine now an Anthony Joshua. I can imagine Anthony. I could just imagine Jake Paul in the ring, you know, and Anthony Joshua is making his entrance to the ring. Game face look in his eyes, looking like he's about to fight for the gold medal once again, or the unified championship, or the world heavyweight championship. This is a dangerous fight, very risky. And Jake Paul said that he wants to take the sport of boxing serious. He wants to be a world champion, so I commend him for that. What I don't commend was he's been doing so far in his career, which is fighting these MMA guys, bare knuckle guys, over the hill fighters. So seeing this now, seeing Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is a big finale, because this is what it's all about. This is what Jake Paul has been needing to face for a while now. And he wants to be a world champion, so these are the kind of fighters that he has to fight. It is what it is. You want to be great in the sport of boxing, you want to be big, you want to be a big deal, you want to be taken serious, you got to be fighting guys like Anthony Joshua. And kudos to him. He signed the contract, and now the fight is official. December 19th in Miami. It's an 8-rounder. And a lot of people are still skeptical about this fight, because a lot of people feel that Anthony Joshua is going to sell his soul to Jake Paul. He's going to go in there and collect a check. He's not going to go in there and let his hands go, because they feel that if he does go in there and really comes to fight, this fight is not going to even last a round. Some people feel that Joshua can beat Jake Paul with a jab alone. And I can I can I can picture it like both guys sizing each other up. You know, both guys touching gloves. Here comes first bell rings. Both guys square off in the middle of the ring, and Joshua just throws a 1-2, really let it go. How would Jake Paul respond to a nice solid jab? How would Jake Paul respond to a nice solid right hand? And can Jake Paul, because this is a reality here, if Joshua really goes in there and lets his artillery go, can Jake Paul takes the shot? Can he take the combo that dropped Andy Ruiz in the first fight? Can Jake Paul take the combination that dropped Vladimir Klitschko in their 2017 fight of the year? You know, can he take a good shot from a real, true heavyweight puncher that knows what he's doing, who has been to the mountaintop multiple times? Now, Jake Paul can land his overhand right on Joshua. I can see that happening. I can see Jake Paul having some moments boxing. And of course, I think if Anthony Joshua gets caught slipping and makes a mistake, Jake Paul can really hurt him and land that overhand right on the chin and put him down. But it's a big if. Joshua has so much experience. This is a huge step up for Jake Paul. This is the kind of fight that everyone has been waiting for. Now, a lot of fans are still concerned because will Joshua really go in there and let his hands go? Has he been bought? Has Jake Paul's money got to Joshua's head? Frank Warren, one of British boxing promoter, one of the greatest of all time in the history of the sport, said this is going to be a car crash. And what he means by that Joshua may give Jake Paul a beating so bad that it may be like a car crash. Jake Paul said this isn't an AI simulation. This is Judgment Day, a professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears and no one can deny me the opportunity to fight for a world title. And I agree. If Jake Paul beats Anthony Joshua, let's just say it, he has the right now. He's an official contender in the heavyweight division. He has the right to a world title fight. That's a huge step. He has officially have a big name in his resume that's not over the hill in Anthony Joshua. But that's the number one question in this fight for the millionth time in this video. Will Joshua, when the bell rings, let it go? Can he do a lot of fans a favor? Will he do the big favor for a lot of fans? Put it on Jake Paul for real and not hold back. Because if he does, this fight is not going to last 2 rounds. You know, Jake Paul eating the combinations of nice 1-2, 1-2 left hook by Joshua. I just can't see him handling that, you know. This isn't Mike Tyson, but Anthony Joshua is big, strong, and dangerous enough to really put Jake Paul on his back. Now, if Jake Paul beats an Anthony Joshua that's in front of him letting his hands go, then I'll give Jake Paul his credit. I'll finally say that Jake Paul is for real. Only way I can agree to that is if he beats an Anthony Joshua that's letting his hands go and not holding back. You know, this is what the fans want to see. If Jake Paul can really beat a legit fighter in their prime, and even so, an Olympic gold medalist, a 2-time heavyweight champion, and a 2-time unified champion in Anthony Joshua, one of the biggest names in the heavyweight boxing today. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this fight right here. 8 rounds, heavyweight showdown in Miami on Netflix. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Yes, right, AJ. Um, like I said, I'll give Jake Paul credit if he beats an Anthony Joshua that's in front of him, letting its hands go. But I won't give him credit if he fights a Joshua that looks like he's gun shy or he's holding back. Then I'll join this. Then I'll join the wagon of every fan that says Jake Paul's fights are rigged. It is what it is. Like, I want to see a true heavyweight fight, competitive fight. Then I'll give Jake Paul credit if he still beats Anthony Joshua. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Jose Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It is always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.